going from watching someone playing Minecraft to someone talking about Plants vs Zombies. We're changing the next one. We're changing the next one. We're changing it. We're going to full screen this one, suckers. Boom. Oh yeah, I forgot. Oolum. Oolum. We can full screen this one because it's not copyrighted! Wow! Sorry. Oh shit, my mic was really close to my mouth. I didn't realize. Okay, this is like 3 hours old. I just started my recommend it. It's called They Killed the Plants vs Zombies franchise, and I've actually watched that video already. That one. I've already watched that one that he's got on the screen right now.
But seriously, PopCap, just give us what we all want. Make Plants vs. Zombies remastered.
I swear at the time, I thought it was the right move.
It's not. It's not.
So a lot has changed since I made my original video about the decline of Plants vs. Zombies. And by that, I mean the series has only continued to stagnate and decline in both popularity and in production value. Let me catch you up to speed. The original Game of the Year edition everyone loved was practically abandoned since it came out.
Yeah.
But that's arguably for the best, because the mobile version was hit with terrible updates that actively removed features and now forces you to pay for them.
Yeah, I have the mobile version on my phone, and I play it offline. It's fucking horrible. When I play it on mobile, I have to make sure none of the zombies get to the back of the line. Of the lawn, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Because of this fucking thing they have on mobile where you cannot have all of your lawnmowers. You want the lawnmower? You have to watch an ad, and you can't even fucking keep it there ready. It just goes instantly. I don't want it to go instantly. I want it to stay. I want it to be with its friends.
An ad-infested abomination that barely resembles the game I grew up with. Plants vs. Zombies 2, their live service and only continually profitable game, is now a husk of its former self, being maintained by independent foreign contractors not familiar with the series, adding plants that don't even fit the art style of the game. This can be seen when they added Scaredy Shroom.
Who made Scaredy Shroom take heroin? Who made Scaredy Shroom take heroin? Because my poor baby looks completely different. I love Scaredy Shroom. He's such a little baby, and then they made him take drugs. He's got drugs in his system.
Look at how stilted the movement is, and it barely even resembles the other mushrooms. They either can't be bothered or can't afford to have actual full-time employees upkeeping it, and I'm not sure which is worse. PopCap Vancouver, the company behind the Garden Warfare games, was rebranded to a completely different company, before, without a word, being quickly changed back. Which doesn't spell a lot of hope for that studio either. And then there's the elusive third entry, still trapped in development hell just like it has been for the past 6 years. Occasionally getting soft releases that everyone hates, before being
6 fucking years? It's been that long? Fucking hell, mate. Sometimes I think it hasn't been that long, and then I realize, yes. Yeah, it has. All you need to say is one fucking date, and then I feel old. Just say a year, and I'm old.
Went back to the drawing board for even longer, until the process repeats itself again. With EA's reputation as a company killing Leviathan, I'm genuinely surprised PopCap still exists as their own entity in any measure. I can only assume they're banking on PvZ3 to somehow miraculously make $1 billion and save the franchise. I think you can guess how that'll work out.
No.
You can get a more in-depth grasp of what's going on by watching my friend Dane's 3-hour deep dive into the
I've
franchise.
seen that one.
But for now, I'm not going to sugarcoat
It's horrible.
it. The franchise is in an incredibly grim state right
I've seen that video. It's horrible. Not the video. The video is not horrible, but like the whole thing. What PopCap what PopCap and the EA are doing. It's not just EA's fault. It's also PopCap's fault. It's not PopCap isn't the victim. They're also the one at fault. PopCap is the one that wanted ads or something like that. They wanted that shit in PvZ too. It wasn't EA that forced them. It was PopCap's own choice.
now. And for the longest time, in my eyes, there was only one road to saving this series. For the past 3 years, I've been championing for PopCap to make a PvZ-1 remake, both publicly and privately. I'd often talk to friends about how a remake could genuinely turn things around from its current state. The idea was that a remaster of the original tower defense game would be a small but easy victory that could snowball into the franchise regaining relevance. In its
And it could have. But it didn't. Because they somehow fucked that over too.
current state, the people do not want PvZ-3. From everything we've seen, it looks like the exact type of free-to-play, microtransaction-filled
I'm sorry. Go back to that walnut. Its ass was cropped off.
From everything we've seen,
The assets are so bad they couldn't even fucking give a full body, so it's cropped off. Oh my fucking god.
it looks like the exact type of free-to-play, microtransaction-filled
Ew, what the fuck is that? Oh my goodness, we have a Brussels sprout grandpa thing.
infinitely replayable garbage I'd play for a video. First, it was too weird and different. Then it became a diluted regurgitation of the original game. PvZ-2 took the original gameplay and expanded on it to be over twice as long. It took the setting and expanded on it to travel across time.
Sure, there's a lot of bullshit going on with it, but at least it's got that going for it. PvZ-3 just fucking doesn't.
It's bigger and more extravagant than the first game in nearly every way. Even if you personally prefer the original game, you have to acknowledge that PvZ-2 is a good sequel, regardless of the fact it's a mobile game. PvZ
Just mobile only. No PC variant. And that pisses me off. I want to play it on PC. I don't want to play it on mobile. I don't want to use my grubby little fingers. It's already annoying enough to use my grubby little fingers for mobile variant on PvZ-1. I have to use my grubby little fingers for PvZ-2. I want a PC variant. I want a PC variant, goddammit.
3 is a step back. In the last game, we were going on an adventure through all of history, and now we're back to the same town the first game takes place in. The first game wasn't designed for mobile. The fact it worked well on a touchscreen is a coincidence. Because it was a paid game, the progression was designed to prioritize the best possible experience, which is why throwing microtransactions in there for no reason breaks it. It just happened to excel on that platform because PopCap was an expert in casual games. But now the industry is hyper-casual. Companies
What the fuck was
was
those
an
things on the
expert in
side?
casual games. But now
Why is her hair like that? Why her hair like that? That's a Rapunzel, but if Rapunzel just had shitty hair.
the industry is hyper-casual. Companies like Voodoo are juggernauts despite not having a single good game. In most instances, free-to-play is at odds with a good user experience. Ads break your immersion and ruin the pacing, and microtransactions encourage making free progression artificially slow. That's where nearly every shortcoming PvZ-2 has stems from. There's a reason no one wants this game. Everyone knows where the trend is heading, and we don't want anything to do with it. But it doesn't have to be
I'm a
this way.
Candy Crush.
Remakes are something nearly universally hated. A lot of the time they display a complete lack of understanding as to what made the original so special to begin with. They paint over the intricate art design of the original in favor of something that looks nice in comparison videos without understanding why those artistic decisions were made in the first place. But the thing is, they also make a lot of money. Remakes are like making a game on easy mode. You already have the blueprint for a successful game, and you already have the audience that's willing to play it. It's the easiest home run imaginable. That's not to say every remake is bad. There are plenty of examples of great remakes out there that actually iterate on the original work instead of just chewing up and spitting the original back out. And
Yeah, especially with this one. Especially with this one.
Actually iterate on the original work instead of just chewing up and spitting the original.
My dad loves the thing. He's got like, you know those vinyl things? Like the jumbo ones that you could actually use. He's got one for the thing.
Back out. And in some cases,
just casually
remakes
on display.
are genuinely needed. I'd argue this is one of those cases. Plants vs. Zombies was originally released in 2009.
He's also got a Funko Pop of the thing.
In a resolution of 800 by 600 pixels. It's an old game, and it doesn't have any of the graphics options you'd expect. That's a genuine shame, because the low resolution muddles the character of the charming art done by Rich Warner. It changes the visual identity of the game in a way that wasn't intended. As I mentioned earlier, the Game of the Year edition, the main way to play the game on PC, hasn't been updated since it was first released. After all, updates weren't a common thing back then. But over the years, there have been several updates and improvements to the original game in the form of its different releases. One of the few good things EA did, before pressuring PopCap into sabotaging the quality of their games for money, was producing the different releases of
But to be fair, that was PopCap's own decision.
Plants vs. Zombies that came out on every mainstream system. Every time PvZ got a new version, it would include something the original never had. The mobile version got extra minigames and achievements, and microtransactions. The DS version got Versus Mode with DS download play and exclusive minigames that use the touchscreen. And the holy grail of all PvZ releases, the home console version was in HD, widescreen, and had the definitive version of the Versus Mode. Ever since it was first released, PC players have been foaming at the mouth to try this for themselves. But without a console, the closest you could get is emulating the game, and all the wacky bugs that come with it. This left the original PC version in an awkward spot. It's the original and one of the most played versions, but it's also the worst version of the game in terms of content. But it at least didn't have the ads and microtransactions like the mobile version, or needed to use a controller like the consoles. There is not a definitive version of PvZ-1. This is why I've always wanted a remake. I've beaten PvZ 20, maybe even 50 times on different devices, but when I say Plants vs. Zombies, it's impossible for you to know which version of the game I'm talking about. They all share common characteristics, but someone playing on Xbox will have a fundamentally different experience than someone playing on mobile.
Yeah.
My expectations were not
for
that
better
high.
or for worse.
I just wanted the Xbox version on PC. Widescreen, 1080p, even 4K if we're feeling lucky.
The versus
and
mode.
if we're really pushing it, maybe even an online versus mode, an expanded Zen Garden, or endless survival leaderboards to compare with your friends. That's all I wanted. That's all they needed to do. This is why I was excited when they announced
Why does the Gargantua look like that? Look at him. He looks deformed, and that is saying something. So does this zombie. The zombie also looks deformed. Just looks deformed.
PvZ replanted. In concept, it's exactly what I was looking for. A definitive version of the game that takes all the different features from the various versions and brings them together in one package. There is only one issue.
Everything about it.
Replanted is an embarrassment.
What's up, hedgeheads? You were...
I'm sorry, what the fuck was that? First of all, what the fuck was that? Second of all... that zombie. I forgot what game it's from, but I know it's from like one of those zombie shooter games. Like intense mutations and infections. And I think I forgot the name of it, but I think it's the game where it's from the series where one of the games, if you reverse the screaming of those creatures, it's people that are still alive. They still have their mind and they're begging for help and mercy. If you reverse the audio, I think that's what the reference is, but what the fuck are they doing in PvZ? What the fuck are they doing in PvZ?
What's up, hedgeheads? You are live with the Turf Titan himself, No Cap Shroom!
Second of all, what the fuck? What the fuck? No, I've got no other words for it. I just heard what the fuck.
I'm here with my co-host.
This is the deep dive trailer PopCap dropped days before the game's release. It takes the form of a fake live stream where influencers No Cap Shroom and Spud Boy go over some of the game's features. I have no idea what they were trying to go for. It's clear they want to mimic the connection people feel towards internet personalities, but they also want to do this without working with any actual content creators. In this case, they literally grew them from nothing. They also talk like that one AI translated PvZ clip.
Oh no, I definitely did not plan this out well enough.
That what? That one AI PvZ AI what? I have never seen that ever. What?
Oh no! It is the dive rocket launcher!
You're still...
What the fuck? It is the dive rocket launcher. What? I've never seen that clip in my life.
Still going down, friend. I've got more PvZ and gardening experience than you.
Relax, I'll handle it. I am the angry pumpkin.
I'm just saying, I think if I
I
try...
am the angry pumpkin. I think I've heard that meme before. Is that where it originated from?
tried hard enough, I could grow a potato that talks.
They are playing at their residence! The head is soaring!
The head is soaring. It's off their shoulders.
As someone who's been following this franchise for years, the marketing for this game in general has felt off to me. They frequently bring up the franchise in the past tense, with a close focus on nostalgia and reliving the game from your childhood. You never hear, play the iconic tower defense game in its ideal form. It's always, ready to meme like it's 2009?
What the fuck?
The year is 2009,
What the fuck?
back when homework could wait, your PC made that startup sound and Sunflower was already grooving on the lawn. PvZ memories. Ready to revisit those sweet, nostalgic days in HD? As if that wasn't possible in 2010 on the
What the fuck?
console ports. Simpler times, it says, not even using footage of the remake they're advertising. And what about the retro pea-shooter skin pre-order bonus?
Retro pea shooter and it's just pixels. It doesn't even look like the actual pea shooter. The closest thing that I can think that it's trying to mimic is the 2DS, and even then that's different.
Embrace nostalgia with a retro pea-shooter skin.
What nostalgia? I've never seen a pea shooter like that before.
The original game's marketing obviously
What the fuck happened to Creepy Dave just then?
you didn't have to rely on your memories. It was weird and
What is
unusual
this?
and original. It stood out from the crowd and immediately gave the impression that the game was made by a small group of creatives personally sharing this project with
What the was that? What the fuck did I just... Is there drugs in my chocolate? What the fuck?
You specifically. And that's because it kind of was. When you beat the game, after seeing the iconic music video for Zombies on Your Lawn, the end credits are absolutely tiny. The entire team for the original game can be fit on screen all at once. All these people are incredibly talented, and without all their hard work, Plants vs. Zombies as we know it would not exist. If I trust anyone to have a deep enough understanding to remake this game, it would be these people, the people who made it to begin with. For every single one of these people, this is their magnum opus. This is their legacy. PvZ's design is all around pretty great, but something that's always confused me is that Plants aren't the best at keeping you protected. Since this game came out, the amount of people working on the series has skyrocketed. Yet I'd argue
Oh, I just skipped a sponsor.
they were never quite able to capture this indie charm ever again. But charm wasn't all the game had to offer. Despite how small its development was, Plants vs. Zombies was a game absolutely packed with content. A full campaign, mini-games, puzzle modes, survival, achievements, Easter eggs, the Zen Garden, the Tree of Wisdom, everything came together to make a very in-depth experience. It was more than worth the $20 it cost in 2009, and it's even more of a steal for $5 with the Game of the Year edition. Replanted is being sold for $20, the same price the game costed when it first came out. This
In this economy?
isn't an awful price point, but it means the game has to add at least $15 worth of content over the original, 3 times the content of the original.
Oh my god. Wow, they're really kicking themselves in the ass with that one, eh? I feel like 3 times the original content, most of that would be great if it had the online. Or at least just the local or online versus mode, one of the two, then that would have dealt with like half that 15% more. Well, $15 more. And they did, and it sucked, and it's completely unplayable.
Or else people would just buy the cheaper game instead. Keep this in mind as I talk about Replanted and its many shortcomings.
Oh god.
There's no getting around it. Plants vs. Zombies art style was iconic. The plants have a ton of really creative designs, and the zombies strike the right balance of intimidating but cute. This is thanks to the work of Rich Warner, who did almost all of the art for the game. Replanted's graphics are a downgrade in almost every conceivable way. Not in the sense that it doesn't resemble Warner's art, but because they copied off of it without a thorough understanding of his style. Before even getting into the game, just look at this logo. It's the perfect representation of how jumbled the art direction is. The nice, detailed, original logo has the word replanted grafted onto the end with zero detail or shading.
Why? Why? It looks fucking weird and out of place. Also, especially since the text is ungodly yellow.
It completely clashes with the original design. Despite Warner's wishes, the studio hasn't reached out to him to do the art for the remake. Instead, they just took what was already made for the different versions of the game and just sort of cobbled them together. UI elements done for completely different...
They did. Oh my god. They could have fucking asked him. But no. The pieces of shit. Oh my god. They sound done already.
versions of the game are juxtaposed right next to each other. Different parts of the menu each have a slightly different visual identity, because the whole thing is this weird mix of PC and mobile assets. The level select screen, which is an upgrade from the PC version, which didn't have one, was ripped directly from the mobile version.
Yep.
And if you go to the final world,
I
you can
recognize
see
that
the final
easily.
boss of the game before it's even revealed.
Ah, yes. We'll shadow every single zombie. We'll shadow all the zombies. Except, you know, the boss. The boss. No. No, we're not shadowing him. We're not making the boss look like a void. Everyone can see what he looks like and his little robot buddy, you know? Ruining it.
There was no consideration to the player's experience. They're just taking what was already there.
They're popping out of the packet. They're popping out of the packet! Also, I'm gonna zoom in. And by zoom in, I mean do this. Look at Melon. Melon doesn't even have one eye. One of its eyes is gone. Bloop. Oh shit. Bloop.
And are throwing it into their game with no thought. Because of the new aspect ratio, certain elements just don't fit right. In the Xbox version, Crazy Dave was about where he was in the original, which left a tiny opening on the side. But in Replanted, they decided to move him to the side of the screen, which leaves an even more awkward gap between him and the rest of the game. They also didn't adjust the text box, so it kinda just hovers in the air where he used to be. Then there's the actual gameplay, where things look even worse. Take a look at the console version, and now Replanted. Even if you can't directly point it out, you feel like something's gone horribly wrong, right? It looks like Plants vs. Zombies, but something feels off. The nice clouds and background details are almost completely erased. Now, instead of taking place in Neighborville, the whole world exists in a liminal space. It doesn't even have the illusion of depth.
Oh my
Speaking
god, the
of the lack
houses
of
are
depth,
gone!
Another thing that becomes abundantly apparent when you compare the two versions is the lack of shadow. Another key pillar to maintaining the game's visual clarity are the outlines and drop shadows. This was a really smart move because it gives a lot of depth to the plants. It makes it easy to see what's on the board with a quick glance.
Yeah.
Especially since a lot of the plants are green and would otherwise blend in with the grap.
Oh god. People that can't see the color green, they'd just be fucking suffering with this. Look at this. I'm suffering with it and I can't see green.
You can most see this when we look back at Replanted. The shadows are nearly invisible, outlines are a lot thinner, everything feels more flat, and if you squint your eyes, plants will blend right into the background.
Oh god, they do.
The line width is also completely inconsistent. When you place a sunflower next to a kernel pult or walnut, it feels like they're coming from entirely different games. It's actually really funny that they added skins, because in most other long-lasting games, they'd risk disrupting the finely crafted art direction from the original vision. But here it doesn't matter if a skin doesn't match the rest of the game, because now the game doesn't even match itself. The graphics are higher quality, but it doesn't
The retro skins look so out of place.
resolve the issue I had with the original. In fact, it's arguably worse. In the original, the lower resolution can at very least be passed off as a stylistic choice. Here, Rich Warner's original art has been bastardized into an incoherent blend. The drawings for the seed packets were taken from an entirely different version of the game. So 3-Peter has a normal outline on the packet, but it's almost completely gone when you place it down. UI design for the console version is placed right next to assets from the PC version. The dust in the new planting animations completely lacks shadows, transparency, and depth. The dirt in the placing animation is clearly in a lower resolution and looks out of place.
Oh my god.
The fucking terrible Chinese version does a better job at adhering to the original style of the game.
The fucking Chinese version! Oh my god, you know you dumb fucked up if this is what someone says. Oh yeah, the Chinese knockoff is better. What is happening?
You'd expect they'd
What
at
the
least
fuck?
get the pea shooters right. It's the most iconic plant in the game, so it's a given, right?
Right?
Well, one would think. Yet here I am, being asked to come on and explain the deficiencies in Replanted's art style. It's hard to imagine that PopCap would screw up its crown jewel of a character. It's not just the pea shooter's appearance. Many elements of this game feel off, though it can be hard to pinpoint. Simply put, PopCap and their contractors have not done their homework to understand the art design of their most beloved game.
Mainly because the people originally
During
behind
the
it are
build-up
probably
for
not
the
even there
game,
anymore.
PopCap
Most
has
of them
been
aren't
using
anyway.
brand new renders for the characters and they do not look good. The sunflower here looks too generic. The walnut looks like he's had too much coffee. What's also
Oh my
odd
God,
about
he's got
this
eye
render
bags.
is that he's used in-game alongside the original Rich Warner design. The lack of consistency is
He's
what
got
particularly bothers me. They made a new repeater for their booth at PAX. They just completely screwed up his head shape and shading. Let's also not forget that
Oh my
perfectly
God.
fine vectorized art exists of these characters. The only one that doesn't look egregious plant-wise is No Cap Shroom over here.
And I didn't fucking ask.
There's a real lack of understanding of Rich's ghoulish and sometimes even freakish designs. Despite what the revisionist history of games like Battle for Neighborville and PvZ3 would like you to believe, the original Plants vs. Zombies art had a much darker tone and direction. The way he draws the zombies is especially one of a kind. Many of those in the community have spent countless hours studying and trying to replicate the monstrous-like approach to drawing the zombies. As for the plants, while they're less creepy than the zombies, they still have this angst and edge that sometimes makes them intimidating. Even for
A little
his
uncanny, but
non-PvZ
it's
work,
good.
he can take completely cute and innocent characters and completely demonize them articulately and thoroughly. All of this and more is not present in Replanted's key art. The off-modeled look strikes again with Sunflower looking as though she was drawn to look more marketable. The brown coat does not encompass a ghoulish and frightening tone.
Gargantua looks like he's so deformed.
For God's sake, the Snow Pea looks like the Bellsprout from Pokemon.
Oh
The
God, he
line art
does.
can be sloppy, most notably the Pole Vaulter back here.
No, genuinely, did they just trace a Bellsprout for that? Genuine question. Did they just trace a fucking Bellsprout for that?
And finally,
I didn't even register the pole vaulter! Oh, sweet heavens! What have they done to my boy? My boy! Oh my God, what have you done to him? Oh my God.
they were so lazy that when compiling this hodgepodge of random characters, they decided to throw in a conehead zombie originally drawn by Rich. If you're still unconvinced of my points and think it looks adequate enough, here's Rich stating that this artwork is not even close to his style. Once we start actually looking at the in-game art, things aren't much better. I want to emphasize that the art is fine in a technical sense.
Oh, I
Of
love
course,
that
it's of a
character
higher
design.
resolution. Actually being able to read Bloom and Doom Seed Co. on the seed packets is admittedly touching. Still, the worst offender of this transition to 4K is, unfortunately, the pea shooter and its variants. It's simply how the proportions are off. They clearly based the design more closely on the promotional material rather than his in-game appearance. He's got this large head and short stem. His animations are extremely stiff with too much detail in his leaves. More interesting.
The stiff animation is giving PVZ too.
Interestingly, his seed packet icon looks closer to PvZ1's in-game
Stop!
pea shooter with
This
a
is so
smaller head
sloppy!
and longer stem. However, his mouth is definitely too wide. It's also more open than the other pea shooter variants and their seed packets. Love the consistency, guys.
Because it just delivers. It makes you laugh every time. And I think
Speaking of inconsistencies, one of the big controversies in the build-up to this game was the reveal of the title screen, and whoa! Seems like the artists at PopCap forgot what game they were working on and accidentally used Cabbage Pult's PvZ2 design. Sure.
They're not gonna fix it, are they?
Sure, this was fixed before release, but the fact that
Oh my
employees
gosh,
spent
thank God.
time and resources accidentally drawing the wrong design is insane. Even with his fixed design, it feels so haphazardly drawn on. Also, he's just straight up turned the wrong way here. We should be seeing more of his back instead of a side view. The art style lacks the same iconicness and precision as the original Plants vs. Zombies. The reason why other versions of PvZ1 feel in spirit by the franchise is that Rich worked directly directly with other artists to create new assets for the project. Look, here he is in the Xbox's credits, even alongside Mark Barrett, future senior artist for PvZ2. The gravestone for the Versus mode is based on Rich and Matt Holmberg, fellow artist and friend who also worked on the original game. Rich Werner
Hello,
clearly had this
Eggcatcher.
precise vision for the franchise, this gritty edginess that only he could capture. Replanted, by contrast, instead of reaching out to the man who brought these characters to life, would rather bastardize his art and say nothing about it.
The through line with all these little differences is that it's clear the art direction was poorly thought out. They had the goal of taking all these different versions
We're
and
not even
combining them
halfway
into a
done.
coherent experience, and they failed. It's more likely that they just threw together all these ideas without proper planning. That's the only way to explain all of these issues. This rushed impression has corroded into literally every aspect of this game, through a collection of random needless changes that didn't need to be made. There was a cute Easter egg in the original. When you scroll down in the achievement section, you can keep scrolling down until you literally dig your way to China. It was a nice little addition, and in the
Look how they killed the game. Look how they butchered my boy. My boy. That's my son. My son.
remake, they decided to expand on this feeling of discovery by adding a whole secret Chinese level. This is a cool addition. They took
The Gatling P isn't on center. The Gatling P isn't on center. I don't like that.
an element of the original game and actively expanded on it. I wish more things in this remake were done with this mindset. The original game has another really charming Easter egg that can be found in the main menu. When you press the help button, it takes you to a letter written by the zombies telling you to not do anything to win the game. This works because Plants vs. Zombies already does an excellent job at teaching the player the ropes without even realizing it. The entire first 4 levels subtly teach you how to harvest sun and defend yourself on the different lanes. George Fan, the creator of the original game, did a talk at GDC where he explains how he made the game so approachable. The entire conference leading up to one punchline: the help section.
When the zombies show up, just sit there and don't do anything. You win the game when the zombies get to your house. This help section brought to you by the zombies. I felt like we did such a good job of teaching the game already that we didn't need a help section, so we just put something silly there instead.
Later on, in the Xbox version,
I never even pressed on the help section of PVZ, so I didn't even know that existed.
someone decided to undermine the joke entirely by adding an actual help screen.
Murder that person instantly, please. Mods, burn him on the stake.
It's a completely unnecessary addition that takes away from the joke. The right move for Replanted would have been to make things
I don't
right
have
and
mods.
remove
I am
this,
the
but
mod.
because it was already in front of them, they added it in without question. The little notes are actually a pretty big part of the game's identity. Throughout the entire adventure mode, the zombies keep sending you these scribbly letters announcing their attacks. Then, before the final level, you get a letter from Dr. Edgar Zomboss
Oh my god, he be writing like Stanford Pines. Sweet Jesus.
himself. Unlike the childish
His
chicken
first name is
scratch we
Edgar?
used to see from the zombies, Zomboss writes in a cursive font, using more sophisticated language than all of the regular zombies. This immediately separates him from his peers, and cements him as a threat. In the remake, for some indiscernible reason, they changed the Zomboss font to make it more bold. They also removed Edgar from his name for some reason. I imagine this change was for readability, the text, not the name change, but it
Yeah, that'd be weird if it was for the the slow realization that you doodle of it yourself. Yo, I have to burn him at the stake myself, god damn it!
retroactively takes away from his character. The way the note was written informs us as the player the kind of person Zomboss is. Someone who flexes his intelligence to put himself above others. He uses the word forthwith. Of course he'd be the type to write his threat letter in perfect cursive. The new letter removes this bit of character building.
Also, I just wanna point out that the first note spreads across the entire note with the writing. This one looks like they just slapped on a box and didn't even try and spread it across the entire note. Just no.
Speaking of reading, there's actually one more little Easter egg I want to talk about. Something I loved in the original game were the little secret cheat codes that you can type in to get special changes. Future would give the zombies glasses, and Mustache would give them mustaches. Not only were these a cute Easter egg, but for some of them you can only use the codes after they're given to you from the Tree of Wisdom, giving the tree an actual use beyond just grinding for the achievement. For the remake, because it's also
They made whatever made the first note look more dead than the zombies.
playable on console,
Why is there a grey melon?
they removed the secrecy of the cheat codes by adding them as an option in the pause menu.
Wait, was that for console?
Playable on console, they removed the secrecy of the cheat codes by adding them as an option in the
Okay, that's console. That makes sense. You can't really type it out because you don't really have a way to type it out like how you do it in the PC variant. So I'll give them a pass there. Remaster fucks it up, don't they?
pause menu. This is perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with having more options. Except for the fact that it isn't an option, it's a replacement. On PC, you can't also toggle them through the keyboard, the way you used to.
What?
Don't get me wrong, I think it's a fine change. It's just a shame that I can't type in the codes anymore.
Wait, that's not, I'm gonna fucking pass out. Was that not for console? My brain is like zoning in and out, I'm sorry. Is the options thing not for console?
This beyond just grinding for the achievement. For the remake, because it's also playable on console, they removed the secret.
Oh my god. I thought it was for I thought the fucking options thing was for the console only. It's the remake! Why couldn't you have just separated it? Why couldn't you just made it typable of PC and the console variant for the remake has the options variant? The remake has options mode for both of them. You can't type it on PC. It's just options. Oh. Why? This is bullshit.
Of the cheat codes by adding them as an option in the pause menu. This is perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with having more options. Except for the fact that it isn't an option.
Yeah, they couldn't even be bothered to make it separate. Hence why I got confused and I thought it was for the console only variant. Okay.
And it's a replacement. On PC, you can't also toggle them through the keyboard, the way you used to. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a fine change. It's just a shame that I can't type in the codes anymore. Memorizing and using the mustache code is one of my earliest ever memories of reading and writing, of learning what was at the time a really long and complicated word. And it's a shame people can't have that experience today. This is especially odd because the tree actually still has the original message telling you to type the codes in, even though—
Oh my fucking god. No. No! The tree still tells you to type it out even though you can't? What the fuck? At least you should have gotten rid of that. How dumb do you have to be? Oh wait, no. This is these people we're talking about, the people that are currently running this bullshit. I shouldn't be questioning how dumb they are. I should already be knowing how dumb they are.
Oh, it doesn't work like that anymore. They went back and changed the text to tell you this, but it comes off in the most clunky way possible.
I'm going to piss on their beds. Whoever made this remaster, I'm going to piss on their beds. You could have just reworded it to say, oh, check the menu. You'll find them there. Check the menu toggle when you're in the game. You'll find it there. This is worse! You could have gotten rid of it entirely, or just said, hey, we have some secret little Easter egg modes. Got some secret little accessories that you can do and put on the characters. Or your lawnmowers or whatever the fuck. Just look in the menu toggle. This is the most clunkiest shit I've ever seen. What do you mean they put it in brackets? You could have just reworded it. No! My baby! Oh my god, my baby! No! What the fuck is this? Oh my god! I'm so disappointed. I fucking drooled on my hand. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's fucking words! I refuse to believe that this is it and not some social experiment to do the least minimum. It really does feel like that.
Possible. Right next to the beautiful art, the second most iconic thing about Plants vs. Zombies is the wonderful music composed by
Yeah,
Haru.
I love the music.
Every one of these tracks is iconic, and you can listen to them on repeat forever without ever getting...
I'm sorry, but the squash singing looks so cursed. Oh, everything's going well. Hello, Marquise. The only reason it's going well is because it's not kitchen nightmares.
getting tired of them. A big reason for this is that the music was actually designed to be dynamic, with alternate horde versions of the songs that play when a large wave of zombies approach.
Yeah, I love it.
The added drums raise the intensity and intertwine the music with the gameplay. With one simple feature, it manages to elevate both. It's brilliant. So Replanted went and ruined it. Now,
As
instead
usual?
of the levels beginning slow and building up to the horde variations when the action happens, it just plays the version with drums right from the get-go with no build-up. It went from this immersive, dynamic system to playing an OGG file. This
No. No. Why would you have the most intense version playing? You could have at least had the... Yeah, they made it horrendous. They could have at least had the first variant playing, like the very first one that plays in each level. They could have had that playing the entire time. But instead they had the most intense variant? What the fuck?
This is one of the most blatant and apparent issues with the game. And while I understand they intend on fixing this with a patch,
The fact that they... I swear they said somewhere that it was like, if it works, don't touch it. Oh my god. They really did somehow fuck that up too. I swear I heard somewhere that they were like... I swear that they said somewhere that was like, oh, we're making this game in a way that there doesn't need to be any patches or updates. And they're having to do patches and updates because they didn't give a shit.
the fact they're only doing this after an uproar of fan backlash is enough to understand my point. Casual fans were able to notice this really blatant issue that the entire team behind this remake missed. My personal...
There's a lot more people doing this bullshit than the original team for Plants vs. Zombies. And they somehow fucked it up? That's a lot more people in this remake team. What the fuck? Why? Why the hell? Because they're cocky. They wanted to make a game that didn't need to have any patches and updates, so they'd be like, look, our game is perfection. No, it ain't. You had to do a day one patch. Your game is that bad. It sounds like modern gaming. It sadly does. It sadly just does.
favorite from Shigeharu's score was always Zombies on Your Lawn. Getting to hear this iconic banger was such a fantastic reward for completing the game. But the thing I love most about this song isn't just listening to it, but the experience you need to get there. It
We
wouldn't be
love
half as
zombies
rewarding
on
if they
our
didn't
lawn in
gatekeep
this
this until after you
household.
beat Zombots.
Hell
When
yeah.
planted, the credits are just there,
What?
in the options menu. You can see it before you even start the...
why. That's the fun part about Zombies on Our Lawn. You have to experience the full game at its fullest and funnest. And it's just... it's just there. What the fuck do you mean in a yellow bar legal? What the fuck do you mean legal? They made it so bad the charm of the first patch gone. I know. It's so sad.
Game. Let's see the credits. Because I'm curious. What? Wait. If there's any PvZ experts in the chat, do you get access to the credits before you beat the game? I thought it was supposed to be held off as like a reward. Like, this is supposed to be your reward for playing the game, right?
It's just on a fucking TV! The remake credits is just on a fucking TV. They didn't even remaster the fucking credits.
Well, guys, we beat the game! Woo!
They didn't even remaster the credits.
The reward granted for beating the game can be obtained less than a minute after opening the game. None of these small changes will...
And if I'm correct, they literally just took the original Plants vs. Zombies footage of the credits, slapped it on that TV, and that's why the TV's in a distance, because the resolution is shit on the original version. They didn't even bother to remake it. They just slapped it on a fucking TV. And they're telling me that there's multiple people working towards the game and the magic the first game had of little people. I don't care.
will break the average player's experience by any means. The core gameplay is still PvZ, but when combined, they show a general trend of misunderstanding and removing charm from the original game. This $20 remake...
We're only a little over halfway, guys! We're getting there!
is somehow worse than the $5 game from 2009.
When we put together Replanted, we really looked at making this the definitive edition of the classic PvZ.
This remake doesn't include any of the exclusive minigames from the other versions.
Not even the DS versions? I mean, that's understandable. They'd be a bit hard to do because they require the touchscreen, the DS variant specifically. But like, you could have fucking tried. Oh wait, why am I asking so much from this company? Why am I asking so much from this modern company that clearly doesn't give two horse shits about anything?
That was one of the main reasons I wanted a remake. The iPad version had a minigame called Buttered Popcorn.
The iPad variant had its own minigame? The iPad variant? What the fuck? No, that's just PR talking and the money rolling. Even the song creator hated that.
And the DS version had a bunch of original minigames.
Yeah, they had so
yet
many.
They weren't translated. The reason they gave was that the minigames were built around the stylus.
I think that...
Yeah, sure. Understandable. But you could have fucking tried.
There are a lot of super cool,
Is he wearing a fucking chomper hat? Is that man wearing a fucking chomper hat? Don't even get me started on this man wearing a cone head. And this man isn't even trying to wear anything.
DS minigames there. Styluses don't exist like they once did. So, we're not going to put a bunch of stylus games in there.
But here's the thing, that only really applies for one level, Home Run Derby. Bomb Altogether is just a standard conveyor level. While containing new mechanics, Air Raid and Zombie Trap would be perfectly fine with a mouse or controller. Heat Waves might take some adjusting since it originally used the DS microphone to cool the plants down, but they totally could have just reworked it. It's not that these minigames were too different to be translated, it's that PopCap was too lazy to do the work for them.
Yeah.
Instead, they added a couple entirely new modes.
Why is it purple? Now that's peak, trying to encapsulate nostalgia and not even fucking trying. Why is it purple? Now there's nothing wrong with the color purple, I'm just confused. Why is it purple?
Cloudy Day and RIP mode.
Oh. What the fuck is RIP mode?
With the original game's release being 16 years ago, I think it's safe to assume that the players have gotten better at it over time. As much as I love the first Plants vs. Zombies, I have to admit it's cartoonishly easy. The adventure mode basically acts as a 4-hour-long tutorial, unlocking the plants and using them to beat the corresponding zombies. That's why I'm not against the idea of a permadeath mode. It increases the stakes and forces you to play extra carefully. But what if I told you that—
Oh, that's what RIP mode is. That sounds so cool. Why'd they fuck it up?
For some unknown reason, they took this already very easy game and somehow made it even easier.
They made RIP mode easier? They made... I'm sorry. Is that what he's saying? Is he saying that the hard mode version of the remastered version, the hard mode variant, is easier? No, when did permadeath become fun? Hey, it depends on the game in question. Having a permanent death mode is fun depending on the game. And in this case, it's Plants vs. Zombies. The game is very easy, so having like a permanent death where you have to restart from the very beginning sounds very fun. But if it's easier than the hell itself.
Replanted, a number of plants attack ever so slightly faster. This shouldn't make a big difference, but because of how intricately designed PvZ's gameplay is, this small change completely throws off the balancing. Fume Shroom is now able to solo a Conehead. The conveyor belt
No.
and conveyor levels also move slightly faster. They were never hard in the original game, but now the game gives you so many more plants that for most of these levels, zombies can barely walk on the screen. In the final battle,
Oh my fucking god.
An entire RV onto your plants was kinda scary. It meant that 2 of your lanes
Yeah.
were now significantly weaker, and you had
Yeah.
to slowly build back up your defenses.
Uh-huh.
In this game, you get about 5 plants for every 3 you'd get in the original, so that brief moment of weakness is gone, and you can just replace the lost plants in a few seconds.
Yeah.
They also managed to completely butcher the sound design.
Some of the best things in Plants vs. Zombies are the sounds.
Yet you still managed to fuck it up. And the
We love our sounds, so we're gonna shit all over it.
other is Cloudy Day. Cloudy Day, in concept, was actually pretty cool. It seems to have been designed with some sort of actual game design, some simple risk and reward. It's a low bar, but it's also the only new game design in this entire remake, so I'll give credit where it's due. When the clouds come in, the sun costs and recharge times are halved. Although, it stops sunflowers from producing sun. That forces the player to decide how hard they want to commit to spamming sunflowers, because if you overcommit, you're stuck with no sun to take advantage.
Just a single fucking potato mine.
Of the cheaper prices, while the zombies get free food. In the original game, my favorite world has always been Fog. In the early developmental stage of PvZ, George Fan added a mock-up level called Ice Level as an April Fool's joke.
I fucking love that. I remember seeing that ages ago. It's fucking hilarious. You can't do anything in the level. It's impossible. You can't do it. You can't do anything. You can't plant anything. There's no sun. Nothing. It's so funny.
The joke being that the zombies are all frozen and nothing happens. It's clear he wasn't too fond of needless gimmicks. George wasn't a big fan of them. That's why when he added the fog to World 4, he made sure to do it in a way that was subtle. There are little openings that allow experienced players to peek through without lanterns or blowers. Whenever I revisit the game, I'm always shocked by how fun it is as a mechanic, since it takes away the player's resources. In other games, that could be really annoying, but because Fan knows—
Worst challenge in the game, by the way. I haven't played Binding of Isaac in fucking years. I should play it again, honestly.
his shit when it comes to game design, he's able to make that fear of the unknown add to the tension of the game, which only makes you more inclined to keep playing. I bring this up because Cloudy Day would be an example of a bad gimmick. It's intrusive, and forces you to revolve your entire strategy around the clouds. While a good player can learn to play without clearing the fog, a good player can never learn to play around the clouds. They just have to learn to work with them. It seems like they were really fond of this gimmick though, because there are 12 levels of this. It gets old pretty quickly. What they should have done is implement the Cloudy Day mechanic.
Fuck you mean there's 12 variants of the same fucking gimmick? At least with the fog, it's entertaining and actually good. Ugh.
Like as an additional challenge in RIP mode. They could have brought back the level gimmicks from PvZ2 and implemented the mechanic as a modifier. I already mentioned how much content the original game was packed.
It does look like a fun game mode, Cloudy Day. It does. It genuinely does. But 12 versions of the same fucking thing? There are ways to clear the fog. Why not blow away the stupid clouds? There are 12 variants of the same fucking gimmick in a row. With Cloudy Day, in my opinion, you should have just made one variant that's for each level. Except the night levels, because they wouldn't do anything. I don't know, maybe change the fog level to like a day, so you could do the Cloudy Day with the fog. It's like, why'd you need 12 variants of the same fucking gimmick in a row?
But would you believe me if I told you there was also a ton of cut content? There's actually a whole set of minigames, known as the Limbo page, hidden in the game, that's only accessible through file manipulation. It includes some cut minigames like art challenges, which are alternate versions of seeing stars from the final game. It has endless modes for every world, which is funny because they weren't added to the remake, as well as some debug options, like intro, which just plays the intro cutscene.
We love the intro as a minigame.
For the remake, adding some of this cut content as bonus levels is a really good idea. But maybe it's controversial to say, but I think most of these minigames didn't make the cut for a reason. Unsodded is a really cool one. You can't place plants on the top or bottom lanes. But for every unsodded, you have a can you dig it? These half-thought-out seedlings of an idea that still have to grow into something fun. Most of these new minigames are boring, and as cool as it is to play them in an official release, it's crazy to me that even in the remake's original new content, they're just taking from the table scraps of the original staff.
Yeah.
The one console mode feature they actually brought over was the versus mode and co-op. It's about what I remember if you look past the glitches, and
the glitches that make it impossible to play the game. I watched a video about it, and to summarize it, if one person's playing on PC and the other person's playing on console, if you're holding on to a plant packet and the other side places down a zombie, your side, the plant side, glitches and you cannot activate or even click on that plant anymore. So it's practically unusable for the entire round. You can't use it anymore. And the person tested it with every single plant packet that they had. And it's possible to glitch every single plant packet so you can't use any of them. You can't do anything. And by the time that video was made, which is a recent video, it was never fixed in the day one patch that was made. It's still an issue. So you can't even play versus mode properly without risking the plant side. And apparently someone said in the comments of that video that the zombie side also can glitch out the same exact way, but I don't really know. It was a lot more complicated. How are they going to remake the game and totally deviate from whatever made it work? I don't know.
Very glad PC players can finally have the experience of playing the game with their friends, as long as they're in the same room. I was really
Yeah.
disappointed to find out that there wasn't any online functionality. The original from 2009 obviously didn't have any, as there wasn't any multiplayer at all. The console port from 2010 has multiplayer, but it's just couch co-op. This makes sense because couch co-op was the big thing at the time. There is no excuse for not having any online functionality in 2025. The only way to play with your friends online is with Parsec or Steam's couch co-op simulator. They didn't even need to run dedicated servers. It's only 2 players, so peer-to-peer would have been just fine. They made this decision because online multiplayer was too much work, and they didn't want to go through the trouble of writing netcode. But maybe that's for the better, because if it was added, it probably would have been riddled with glitches.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Oh, yay!
by now,
We're getting into the fun part. Let's see how many glitches there are. Oh, God.
the general lack of polish that permeates through every aspect of this remake is obvious. But I still want to go into detail about just how buggy and unfinished this game really is. I understand that through updates into
What the
detail about
fuck?
just how buggy and unfinished
That was fucking instant!
this game really is. I understand that through updates, most, if not all of these issues will be patched. But as far as I'm concerned, the fact that they're in a released version of this $20 game at all reflects poorly on its development. It's so rushed that there are several glaring and obvious errors in
What the fuck is that thumbnail? It's like PlayStation 2 Pog face. What the fuck? What is Crazy Dave doing? It's like a PlayStation 2 model.
the promotional material. You know,
Yeah. Always remember when watching this video that the remasters team is fucking huge compared to the original PVZ team. The original PVZ team could be fit on one screen. This team has to be scrolled. And all this bullshit exists.
when they can selectively cut around to make the game look better. Just about every time gameplay is shown in these videos, you can find something just blatantly wrong. Like a zomboss with red eyes firing an ice ball. This is the pattern recognition of a literal child.
I'm gonna make children think that ice is supposed to be red.
I was able to notice the pattern when I played the game at 5.
Crazy Dave picked some of your plants.
Really? That's not what it looks like. This is almost as big a mystery.
He picked some of our plants. Our plants? The void.
As the case of the floating mustache. But actually
Oh my
playing the
God.
game is when things start to get bad. I'm not going to go super in depth on every single glitch I encountered, but just to quickly shotgun a few points, pea shooters stumble a bit every time they shoot a pea, and the pea that shoots out is too high up because they didn't account for it when they made him shorter. Cone heads don't make their iconic plastic hit sound. The huge wave of zombies text doesn't have a transition.
The fucking codex don't even have a fucking plastic sound anymore? What the fuck?
It just pops into existence, and it the huge wave of zombies text doesn't have
It just pops into existence! Oh my fucking god.
a transition. It just pops into existence, and it's entirely off-center. Pole vaulter zombies snap around when they jump. Crazy Dave's broken thumb can be seen when he hands you the mallet.
That mallet just be fucking levitating. Holy shit.
Now for the record, this isn't AI, it was like this in the original game too, it's just that there, the designers were smart enough to know to cover it. When gargantuars smash plants on pots, the crushed plants float on top of the pots. This wouldn't be that much of an issue if gargantuars didn't start appearing on the roof world. The trophy at the end of the game flickers the with
I'm sorry,
gargantuans
what?
on pots, the crushed plants float on top of the pot.
Oh my god.
This wouldn't be that much of an issue if gargantuars didn't start appearing on the roof world. The trophy at the end of the game flickers the fuck out. Zombie
Oh my god, it's having a seizure.
and the pea shooters are terribly animated. The animation for zombies coming out of graves is completely glitched. You can see them for one frame. The Jack-in-the-Box zombie occasionally just doesn't make any Jack-in-the-Box sounds. Like, that's his entire thing.
That would be horrible in the fog levels. Imagine playing normally and you just get fucking jump scared by a Jack-in-the-Box because it wasn't playing any fucking noise.
And finally, my personal least favorite, the Zen Garden was completely ruined.
No! I loved the Zen Garden as a kid. It was so fun. No, they ruined my baby. No. No, my baby. No.
To be a satisfying, relaxing reprieve from the action
I love
is now
this.
the most unsatisfying thing I've ever played in a video game. You can only use the watering can if you specifically click the top half.
What the fuck? Why a specific place? That's so annoying.
Of the icon. The money that usually drops after watering the plants drops before they're even watered. And don't even get me started on how awful the fertilizer animation looks. Something has gone fundamentally wrong with the development of this remake. I don't care if they fix every single one of these issues. The fact they weren't all fixed for the day one patch means that they thought this version of the game is worth $20. That's the same price as Silksong. This game is a
Yeah, it's the exact same price as Silksong, and it's literal shit. I have never played Silksong, but that game is very, very, very fucking good. This? The thing on my screen? No. No, 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 no.
complete embarrassment. Not just to themselves, but to us.
Yeah.
The biggest controversy surrounding this remake is its blatant use of AI. The official Plants vs. Zombies Twitter account has repeatedly stated that there was no generative AI used in the creation of Replanted. That's technically true, but they're being pretty sneaky about it. They aren't using generative AI in the game, but they're definitely AI upscaling the textures as part of their process. When data mining through the game's files, obviously AI-enhanced textures can be seen, and when taking a close look at some textures like the zombie head, it's clear to me that their process was to artificially upscale the original assets before tracing over the result. The final outcome is very reminiscent of the way AI unconfidently bullshits its way into making something. Generative AI has also been used in some of its promotional material, so even if it's not in the files of the actual game, generative AI has also been used in some of its
Oh my god, those fingers be fucking warping, holy shit.
promotional material. So even if it's not in the files of the actual game, if you're ideologically opposed to the use of it, then it's best to steer clear. But even if you don't care about the moral implications of their use of AI, I think the results speak for themselves. These methods are creating worse art and doing a worse job at following the original game's style. It's very obvious they're doing this to cut costs so they don't have to actually redo the textures.
I know this isn't AI related, and I don't know if he's going to bring it up in the future of this video. But I'm also going to add on that they faked concept art. They dragged concept art from other games into like a little section in this game. Which, sure, using concept art, showing concept art from other games, that's perfectly fine. But they made up concept art for that section too. The biggest one that I can think of off the top of my head for them making up concept art for that section is the fact that they made up quote-unquote concept art for the Disco Zombie. Now, if you know the context for why Disco Zombie came into fruition, you will completely understand why this quote-unquote concept art that they made for that section is literal bullshit. Because the Disco Zombie was originally a Michael Jackson reference to Thriller. And they were told to change it because of his death. And the artist made up the Disco Zombie on the fly. There was no concept art, and he stated this himself. He made it up on the fly. There was no concept art for the Disco Zombie. They just used what he made. Ugh.
And they're doing that because they don't actually care about the quality of their game. Once again, let's return to the credits of the original. To the people whose work was so good, even a haphazard copy isn't the worst game in the world. How many of these people do you think had a hand in making this remake?
None of them.
0. The answer is 0.
0.
All of these people are credited for their original work, in the screen-recorded console music video, but not
Which was taken from the original PVZ. That is the only reason they're credited in this game. Is because this was ripped from the original Plants vs. Zombies game. The credit scene was ripped from Plants vs. Zombies. That is the only way that they were credited.
not a single one of them were brought on for the remake. They weren't even put into the dedicated credits section. The credits scroll has the infrastructure and platform services for the EA digital platform, but they couldn't be bothered to write down the names of the people who made the actual game. The only way they were mentioned in the credits at all is because they couldn't remove them from the music video they stole from the console version.
Yep.
Thanks for making the game we stole, fuck you. Since it seems EA doesn't want to draw attention to these people, I will. It's only 7 people, so it won't take long. To George Fan, the man who came up with the game design to my favorite childhood game. To Todd Semple, who did the programming. To Rich Warner, who did the wonderful art and animations. To Laura Shigihara, who did all the amazing music and sound effects. To Enrique Quartz, who did the beautiful backgrounds. To Matt Holmberg, who made the consistent UI. And Stephen Notley, who wrote all of the charming flavor text. Thank you for making one of the greatest games I have ever played.
And we are sorry that it's turned to literal shit. Thank you for making it, and we are very sorry that it's turned to literal shit. Because you are no longer on the team. We are sorry. We don't have a hand of making these games, the community does not, but on behalf of the entire community, we are sorry.
I'm sorry that your top-notch work has to be taken and ruined. Imagine what the developers in these credits are thinking right now, having their legacy dug up as a reanimated corpse like a game of Whack-A-Zombie. Except, you don't have to imagine. Several of the original team members have spoken out about how bad this remaster is, completely shitting on their original
I'm
work.
so glad that
Laura
they have.
Shigihara, who composed every iconic track in the original game, pointed out how they butchered her dynamic music. Rich Warner, the artist whose style brought the plants to life, has pointed out that several early design sketches shown off as bonus
Yes! Yes, it brings it up! Half of them are not real! And it pisses me off! Why the fuck would you fake concept art? Of all things!
and were entirely fabricated, fake coffee stains and all. The real tragedy was that these creatives would have absolutely loved to return to the series they helped build. The sentiment from these people wasn't one of anger, but one of disappointment. They know the game could have been so much better, and it would have been if they were a part of it. Yet the replanted crew never reached out. So if the original staff isn't even attached, who actually are the people behind this remaster?
Who are the ones that we should say fuck you to? For ruining this. Ruining something that should have been actually really good.
In the different interviews for Replanted, they kept bringing attention to 3 specific people, presenting them as current faces of the franchise. The people who are so qualified they can answer any question relating to the game. So, who are these people?
My name is Nick Reinhardt, and I am the studio GM for PopCap.
First is Nicholas
Just so you can see all
Reinhardt,
3
the
of
general
them.
manager of PopCap. He's been at EA for 10 years, but he's only been at PopCap for less than 1. He has no experience with the original game, yet is continuing to talk about it as if he does.
My name is Jake Neri. I function as the EP on this title.
The next person is Jake Neri, the executive producer of Glue Mobile, a company that, like PopCap,
No! No! No wonder it's gone to shit. One of the people is this motherfucker!
was bought out by EA. They've produced a few of PopCap's mobile games many, many years ago, but as far as I can tell, they have no other experience with PopCap's games.
Hey everybody, I'm Matt Townsend. I'm the brand director for PVZ.
Then, lastly, there's Matt Townsend, the brand's director since 2022. This man concerns me. You may recognize his name if you've already seen Dane's Deep Dive, where the
I
original
have.
game's writer, Stephen Notley, explains his goal after being appointed.
I have watched that video already, but I can watch it again and just like talk about it, cause it pisses me off. Not how they formatted the video. The video is done really well, but like the information pisses me off.
Did was to quote,
get the band/brand back together and push it forward with more clarity.
Get the band together means get all the old people back together, which they wanted to do, but they didn't do that. Getting the band back together doesn't mean the bullshit that you're doing.
Considering Notley left that same year, he isn't doing a great job at that. Every time Townsend has something to say in this video, you can expect it to be the most insane thing you've ever heard in your life. If you actually listen to what he has to say, it's clear he has no knowledge of the game he's directing the brand of.
For me,
He didn't even play the game? Any of them? They should rename the game into PVZ. Not PVZ, into Grave Robbery.
personally, some of the details that I really like are Dr. Zomboss's theme song. It plays on the final level, and it only plays for a short clip. And really, if you're not paying attention, you might miss it. We don't release that in the soundtrack. It's kind of an Easter egg that we leave there for the players.
Mad, buddy. What the fuck did you mean by this? The Zomboss theme, Brainiac Maniac, is already in the soundtrack.
Yeah, what the fuck? It's not an Easter egg, it's just a fucking OST.
And it's not an Easter egg, it plays for the entire fight. You can't miss it unless you literally have the music muted.
We really want to pay attention to small details beyond.
He plays this. He played it for 1 millisecond. And all he saw was the fucking intro screen loading. That's all he's seen.
On what most players would experience.
How would you possibly miss the music in the final boss of the game? And the cherry on top of that is that the song playing in the video isn't even the Zomboss theme. It's a cut song called Zombotany.
They used a cut song for this video interview? He's already giving himself a pat in the back, and that hand hadn't even touched anything about the game. He's joking himself off more than he's played this game. His ego is so big, he's joked himself off more than he's played the actual game that he's directing. Prove me wrong.
Some of the best things in
You
Plants
can't,
vs.
because I'm
Zombies
right.
are the sounds.
He has
Many
joked
people
himself
listen
off
to the
more.
soundtrack and the sound effects of Plants vs. Zombies long after they.
I knew you would say that! You guys know me so well.
Okay, who goes out of their way to listen to the sound effects on their own? Dude, I listen to the zombie eating sound on repeat.
Shit, this shit a banger. I listen to the zombies eating sound on repeat, cause this shit a banger sound.
And we wanted to make sure that we went back and really
It doesn't make any
captured that
sense.
audio, brought it forward, kept it crisp.
You didn't do shit. You brought back the final section of each level soundtrack and didn't add the rest for each level soundtrack. Oh my fucking god.
Is currently bragging that they kept
You made him look like an alien and I love it. Look at him.
in the sound effects that were already in the game. Yeah, I'd hope he wouldn't change the sound effects for literally no reason. This gets extra funny when you remember that they actually did remove sounds from the game. The funniest thing happens when you look into where Townsend came from. According to LinkedIn, he's another carryover from...
They robed a grave. I know you mean robbed, but I'm just imagining someone putting a robe over a gravestone now.
Glue. The people behind this remake aren't the guys who made PVZ, they're the guys who made Big Time Gangsta.
What is that name? What
This
is
franchise
this?
is in the hands of people who know literally nothing about the original game. Besides PopCap, another company called The Lost Pixels was brought in to help with the game. This was a company founded by former EA developers, whose studio was shut down. EA is now outsourcing them to work on this project. Replanting...
What the fuck? Oh yeah, we got rid of you. Now we want you to help us. That logic doesn't make any sense.
It was never going to be good. This remake was doomed before it even started development.
Yeah.
The reason they made this game was not because they wanted to remake it. If that was the reason, it would be the definitive version.
They want money. That is just it. They don't care about it. They just want money.
If that was the reason, they would have worked with the original designers instead of lazily copying off of their work. If that was the reason, they would have reached out to Rich Warner, who has continuously stated that his inbox is open and he wants to help work on the game. Do you want to know why they actually made this game? PvZ3 was launched again a few weeks ago as of
It's like EA is banishing these horrible guys into the game. EA things I see. Yeah, money. EA. What is EA? Oh, they're Mr. Krabs, but more on steroids. Money. Money, 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 money.
in this video. I bet you didn't even notice. I sure didn't. Not until I saw a Zack Scott video covering it in my recommended. It's now called Plants vs. Zombies 3 Evolved. This time, the gimmick is that they're following the merge idea seen in a lot of modern mobile games. It's no coincidence that they're doing this after the popularity of
Yeah, I was gonna say, it just sounds like they're ripping off Plants vs. Zombies Fusion Edition, which is so funny because that's the actual franchise ripping off a mod of their game. What the fuck? Oh my god.
Plants vs. Zombies Fusion, a fan mod that has gained significant traction on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. It's probably a fine mod, but I can guarantee the reason they're latching onto this gimmick is to bait short-form content about the different wacky variants. PvZ3 looks like the kind of game that, just like Shorts, will grow tired and
Why is there a Brussels sprout old man?
stale after a minute. It's clear Replanted was made to get the brand more attention, to bait articles, and then bring everyone's attention to this game. Plants vs. Zombies 3 will be a failure. They don't have the resources. They've been whittling away at PvZ3 for so long, with so many revisions, I'm not sure how much of the budget they have left if they aren't all.
It's a reoccurring theme now, modern games relying on modders to fix their mess, and even then, that doesn't work. Because they are ripping off a mod from the first game. The cow is dried. The cow's udders are non-existent now.
Already over budget, but at this point it's definitely not enough. I'm sure at this point their main priority is just getting something out. If you put a starving man in a kitchen, you can't expect him to make a delicacy. He'll just eat the ingredients to get his fill. I don't think the people at PopCap are
fuck was that drawing?
Fans of their own franchise. I don't think they understand what the fans actually want. Or even worse, they do, they just don't care about them. When they add poorly implemented homescapes mechanics,
or it's
they're aiming
both.
for the lowest common denominator, not realizing that audience is too busy already playing homescapes. You're not going to lure people away from Candy Crush with Zombie Match. Candy Crush already exists. How is this game by the same company that made Bejeweled? Well, because it isn't the real PopCap. The king of casual that made hit after hit in the 2000s. Those people all left years ago. The only thing current PopCap and old PopCap have in common is the logo.
Yeah.
My last video about PvZ was 2 years ago. I didn't want to return to this series, because seeing the current state of this franchise makes me sad. I didn't want this video to be serious.
Corporate greed,
People
yeah.
want funny terror, and sometimes I do too. But it's so hard to laugh when I'm faced with the possibility that 10 years from now, this could be seen as the definitive version of the game. The game people think about when they hear Plants vs. Zombies. An AI-generated, sloppily thrown together inferior insult to the original game, resembling it in name and characters, yet not providing a modicum of the original charm. If this is Plants vs. Zombies' last hope, then the
I'm sorry,
series
I'm
is
typing at the same
effectively
time.
dead. For the longest time, I've been dreading that outcome. But if this is where the franchise is going, then honestly, I'd rather watch it die.
I would too. Because they've just fucking ruined it at this point. They've just fucking ruined it. Yeah, just get Game of the Year edition. Just get fuck you EA. Yes. Fuck you. Just get Game of the Year edition. It's literally $5. Not even kidding either. It's just $5. Just get Game of the Year. It's literal gold compared to this shit.